Hello, Susan Palmer here. I um I agree with both types of instruction, but I would have to say I am more of a constructionist because I do work with kids that have a very hard time. I work with kids with disabilities, so they're always struggling, always having a hard time. So I try to make things very easy for them. And one of my go-tos, um, I would have to say, is Blooket. Um, yes, it looks like a game, but it's also a learning tool, and but sometimes they don't get that. Um, so what I tried to do is when we were reading The Outsiders, and this was with my eighth graders, and then we were also with my sixth graders, I read Bud Not Buddy. And what I would do is we would read a chapter, but then we would see how it would have to do with everyday life. If this happened today, what would it look like? Yeah, we still have gangs, and things would look a lot different than what they did back then, and things like that. But this is something that you know the kids took interest in. Even the kid that always seemed to have his head down because he didn't want to be called upon. Um, but it seemed like he always knew the answer when he was called upon. So it does help. Also, I like the Blooket because in Miss Palmer's class, we do not have quizzes. We do not have tests. They stress about these things. This is something that they have had a hard, um, they just have a hard time with. I have a hard time with it. I've always had a hard time when I was growing up. I still do. I'm having a hard time with the praxis right now. So, anyway, um, it's something that we don't have, but they don't understand that this is sort of a quiz type thing that does let me know that they're understanding what we're reading, what we're doing. So it talks about who's the main character. We can go over these one by one. I can actually review them to make sure it is the chapter that we are on. They can play solo. I can assign it as homework. When I host a game, they get to come up with their own um, little thing like this, and their own little character or whatever, and then it becomes a game. Also, in Blooket, oh, they get to there's either the pot of gold or there's this or there's that where they get to, if they get the right answer, then they get to steal gold from other people or stuff like that. So anyway, there's just different things like that, and I think that this has helped because the kids today, even after we get done doing something like this, we still review of what it looks like today and what it would look like later, even on and then I can also create something. So if we read something or we did something, I can create it. I can put images in there, and it would come up for them, and then I could put it in my sets and I could do it as a thing. But even for Bud Not Buddy, it should still come up even though I didn't. I would do just something short, and they could. Um, we they really enjoyed this book. My sixth graders did, and we talked about this a lot and how it is in today's world. This class here, I have a lot of foreign students. I have several people from Bosnia. I have several people from um, India, just different places, and they like to talk about their homeland, and I let them, if they want to talk about that stuff and how it affected them and what it was like there. That's what I, because not only that, are they telling me a story about what their life was like, but also the other kids learn from that. And that's important. That's very important. So not only are we doing this type of stuff, but we also interact with just our daily conversations of what things were like, or what people went through, that type of stuff. So it is important. Yes, direct instruction is important too. I get that, especially now that we're coming up to standardized testing. We have the MAP test in 3 weeks. So yeah, I have to get on that, and I have to start really focusing on that type of stuff. But this is some of the downtime stuff that we'll be doing. We'll be doing more like the we'll be doing more like this type of stuff when we do our downtimes. You know, what's the logo type of stuff, and they enjoy that. So this is my go-to, but I would say, yeah, I do both types of teaching. We do a lot of group stuff, we do a lot of individualized stuff. So anyway, that is my video for this week. Thank you.